Okay, so this story starts about a decade ago. Zach Dallas is a student at McCallum High School, and late one night, some of Zach's friends decide to take him hiking in the Barton Creek Greenbelt. It was dark. They hike for about a mile from the Gus Frew entrance. Then Zach's friends suddenly stop.
You know, we're worried about raccoons or whatever, and then we look up and we see that thing.
That thing. Curious. A few years pass, and Zach meets Anna Javed. The two are seriously hitting it off, and Zach wants to treat Anna to a memorable experience. So he takes her to see that thing.
Like, its arms are so long, its feet are also elongated, it's kind of muscular in some ways. The head is just this little knob. It just does not put me at ease.
Zach and Anna have walked past this sculpture in the Greenbelt dozens, maybe hundreds of times in the past decade. And after so many years, Anna wanted to know.
Just the story and the history behind this figurine, why it was put up, and then also what are we as hikers supposed to take away from it when looking at it?
I asked Zach and Anna if they had any theories to get me started.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So people saying that it's here to scare tech bros back to California. That hadn't worked.
Anna had a more reasonable theory. She thought an artist got permission from the Parks Department to install it.
Because obviously they have to be on board with that too, right? For it to be kind of permanently there.
A couple of good theories, but still not a lot to go on. I tried to see if whoever put it up there left a signature on the sculpture itself. But if it ever was signed, it's now covered in moss. There's a bench, curiously positioned directly across from the sculpture. Thought maybe there'd be some clues there. Not really. Ultimately, I consulted every investigative reporter's favorite resource. And I found out people have been speculating about this sculpture for a long time. Obviously, the people of Reddit had their theories too. But one rare bird actually had valuable information to share on Reddit. Someone posted a link to an article published a few years ago. The story was about an artist named Magdalena Jakobiec, who makes giant mutant dolls. It was too on point to be a coincidence. I found the artist's email and asked if the sculpture in the Greenbelt was her work. A few days later, she responded. So, Magda and I met up in front of the sculpture. Turns out, that thing has a name.
I think I used to call it High Doll because the face says high on it. Like the word high is stitched on it in green.
Magda told me about herself. She's a sculpture artist. She got her MFA at UT. She's also a dancer. She's been doing ballet since she was a kid and still teaches dance. It was looking as though Anna's theory was right. This was an art installation. But there was one key thing she got wrong. Anna said whoever put the sculpture in the Greenbelt must have gotten permission. Not exactly. Here's what happened. Magda finished making the sculpture about 10 years ago. It looked a lot different back then. When she finished it, it was fluorescent green. She wanted to get the sculpture out there, but she didn't know how to get into galleries. And Magda says she didn't want to deal with all that anyway. She thought, what about putting it up in the Greenbelt?
We hung the doll in the middle of the night, I think because I'm a rule follower, so I would never just go out there. I mean, I guess I'm not entirely a rule follower.
She asked her husband, Shane, for help.
I had it wrapped in a sheet. Like, we parked at Gus Frew and we're like carrying a body in a sheet into the Greenbelt at night.
Then they had to get it into the trees. Luckily, Shane is a skilled rock climber.
Yeah, I just stood here and Shane climbed up the tree and I was like, no, further.
Higher and higher, until he got the sculpture to where it's lived for the past decade. Okay. So that's how the sculpture got there. But what does it mean? I'm not gonna lie, I was really intimidated to talk to Magda about this. Because honestly, I'm not very artsy. I literally watched this YouTube video before meeting with her. Sometimes looking at art stresses me out. I get worried that I won't get it, or I won't come to whatever grand conclusion everyone else does. And to be honest, the first time I saw this sculpture in the Greenbelt, I wasn't thinking about it like it was art. I just thought it was weird. I suddenly felt like I was working on a story completely out of my wheelhouse. I tried to put these feelings aside and focus on the basics. I asked Magda how this all got started.
Like, I knew how to sew. My grandma sewed us clothes when we were little. She's the reason I wanted to sew, because she had this, magical power.
Magda taught herself how to sew in high school. She started with clothes, and the more she did it, the more she realized she also had that magical power. When she got to college, she wanted to use that power to make art. This is the first piece Magda created. She named her Bella. She used fleece for the skin of the sculpture and PVC to make a durable sort of skeleton. Then she stuffed it with polyester fill to give it shape, and you have a giant mutant doll. And Magda started making a bunch of these. Her earlier renditions, like Bella, didn't have faces. Some of them, like this one she named Rhea, just have cloth scribbles over the face. But her work evolved. One of her early works with a face is my personal favorite. Magda titled this one, "Dear Everybody, Eat Shit." Then there's this one. She called it, simply, Head Penis Number 2. And maybe you couldn't help but notice, nipples and genitalia are a big part of Magda's work. I asked her about that.
I think in general, genitalia and nipples, when I realized I could make them pretty anatomically accurate with fabric, that just really excited me. It felt hilarious, it felt unlikely. It really bothers my husband, I think. He's like, this is so weird.
In fact, some of her work is just penises. In 2008, she made a bunch of them and hung them up in a tree in San Francisco. The way Magda describes this time in her life, it's like she was just struck with inspiration at every turn. She said she needed to make art like she needed to eat. But what inspired her to make dolls specifically? And not just any dolls, but dolls that are sort of the antithesis to Barbies, with arms and legs and boobs that spill out all over the place. She says growing up practicing ballet had something to do with it.
I think when you're a dancer, you're obsessed with your body, the experience of your body, but also what it looks like, because you're trying to package it into a really, really particular form.
Magda said ballet dancers grow up hyper-aware of their bodies. They wear teeny tiny leotards in front of giant mirrors. Many dancers report being body shamed or told they need to lose weight way before they even hit puberty.
So I think that's why I started making figures, from that dancerly, just how do I solve this problem of being a body and it being wrong all the time?
It's not just dancers who feel this way. We are all subtly being told we look wrong all the time. Or at least that we could look better. Magda says there's this other layer to her work. It's not just about dealing with an imperfect body, but also the weirdness of being confined to a body in the first place.
I think it's such a universal struggle. It's an existential problem, how to be a body. You know what I mean? It's just weird. You're a person, you're conscious, but you're also just stuff.
And I get all this. It's like when you're a kid, and you're not really thinking about your body. You don't need to have social awareness if your hair is messy or if you have chocolate on your face, because in a sense, you're just busy with bigger things, making friends, doing cartwheels. And then at some point, someone says something to you about your weight or your skin, and suddenly your body is no longer just a vessel to do fun things. But when I look at Magda's art, I see creatures that skipped all that social conditioning, especially the doll in the Greenbelt. It's not being held back by feelings of self-consciousness. It's perpetually and confidently leaping from the trees with feral whimsy. And now when I look at the sculpture, it gives me a glimpse of that childhood innocence back. Maybe I do understand art. So that's my take. But Magda says if you look at her art and still think it's weird or creepy, that's okay too.
I hate when people feel like they have to then like revise their version of what they think something's about because of what someone intended or maybe didn't even intend but said after the fact.
So to Anna's question, what are hikers supposed to take away from the sculpture? I guess my answer is you're not supposed to take away anything. It might mean something totally different to you than it does to me, and that's what makes art cool, that it's contested. There was one more thing that was nagging me. Magda used to hang her sculptures in Austin parks all the time, and every single one of them, except for this one in the Barton Creek Greenbelt, got taken down. What made this one so special?
I think the main thing is just that it's not easy to get down.
I guess sometimes it's just not that deep. Thank you.